When Mother's Day means celebrating your mom, your wife, maybe even your daughter as a new mom, trust 1-800-Flowers to help you celebrate every important woman in your life. With double blooms from 1-800-Flowers, order 1 dozen roses and get another dozen for free. It's a simple way to give beautifully, with colorful blooms that make Mother's Day feel meaningful. For every mom you're celebrating, order with confidence and get double blooms at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast.
Just when you thought you knew everything about local lunatic Max Kremer, comes a brand new lore drop, giving us the weirdest twist in this case so far. And then we look at the story of a young man who was hired to do renovations in a recently abandoned crack house. He thought the worst thing he was going to have to worry about was stepping on broken glass or getting some sort of disease from all the infected blood there. Little did he realize his biggest concern would be the phantom the previous residents left behind. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing, and I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I really didn't do much, just kind of hung out and played video games and watched movies, but I had fun. That's what I like doing on my days off. But someone who loves every day being off, someone who's a total lazy bum, everyone get on your feet and give it up for Liam. Woohoo, yeah! He's all walking on in wearing board shorts and a tank top. It's every day Saturday to this guy. Liam is a member of the Mule Crew, and they came out to watch me do my speech at the Oregon Ghost Conference, and that is such a treat to see you guys and to meet you guys in real life. Liam, that is why you're going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially or come out to the live events, it's totally fine. It really is. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Okay, Liam, we got a lot of stuff to cover today. Let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you the keys to the... What vehicle do we want to use? Well, we've got a new vehicle. We just came up with this. Liam, I'm going to go ahead and toss you the leash for the Carpenter Crawler. Everyone climb on board my genetically modified insect as we leave. And I think you're kind of running out of ideas. Just stick to the classics. Everyone climb on board this massive cockroach covered in filth of previous meals that it's eaten. I also genetically modified all the trash on it so the trash is bigger and more toxic than normal. Everyone climb on board the Carpenter Crawler as Liam giddy ups this giant insect out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command all the way out to Tennessee. What was it? I thought it was insect sound like a motorbike. Well, if you genetically modify a cockroach, its vocal cords get bigger as well. And that was it, chittering as we crawl all the way out to Tennessee. We're headed all the way out to Tennessee. Specifically, we're headed out to Cookeville, Tennessee. The longtime listeners of Dead Rabbit Radio know that is where local business owner, entrepreneur, and all-around genius in the financial world, Max Kremer, currently resides. We've done a ton of episodes on him over the years. I'll put him in the show notes. Basically, his claim to fame originally was a homeless video game designer. And that's how we knew him for years. Well, turns out he has a home now. I mean, but he did used to be a homeless video game designer. At a certain point, I start to think, is there more than one Max Kremer? I mean, I know a lot of people have that name. Very unfortunate for them, because if they type it in, it's always going to find this show. Someone Googles themselves, some businessman Googles him, a real businessman, by the way, Googles himself, and he's like, what? The dad-shaped supervillain? That was the first episode we did. Max Kremer, dad-shaped supervillain, where when he was a homeless man, he talked about wanting to wear people's skin and infiltrate their homes. And now in his second phase of his life, he keeps trying to start these businesses. And they all fail pretty spectacularly. And it's actually a two-pronged attack. We're going to cover both of these for this first segment. Failed businessman, and I'm not going to knock the hustle, right? It's okay to dream big. It's okay to take big swings and they don't pay off. I mean, that's just life. He also has been suing a lot of people lately. It would be crazy if it turns out, though, there's actually more than one homeless maniac named Max Kremer. I'm pretty sure it's all the same guy. But just like it turns out Batman found out there's actually 3 different Jokers. He's been fighting 3 different guys over the past couple decades. He didn't know they were different. Yeah, I know it's stupid when they did it in the Batman comic, and it would be insane here as well, but I'm going to drop some new Max Kremer lore on you that, again, will have you thinking, I don't know if this is all the same guy. Pretty sure it is, though. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Max Kremer's been sue happy in the past couple years, suing all these companies. Now, you go, Jason, doesn't that make you afraid that he might sue you? Honestly, a little bit, right? It has crossed my mind, but he seems to be going after the big dogs. And I'm not a big dog, I'm a little pup. Compared to the people he's suing, Walmart and Google in these instances. He sued Walmart because he said they were violating his copyright. And the copyright that he's talking about is he owns a couple different companies. I mean, they're all failures, but again, he still says he has all this stuff trademarked, not federally, at least not that I could see. One being simcrime.com. That's actually the biggest indicator that he is the original Max Kremer we started covering. That word simcrime, now that I think about it, has carried over the decade or two that he's been in operation. Simcrime is this idea that we're all in a simulation. Most of us are NPCs, myself and you included. There's, according to Max Kremer, maybe 6 real people in the world, and he's one of them. But simcrime.com is a website that he operates, this business model that he has. And then also Microwavio is another name that he says he has federally trademarked, and a lot of times he calls himself Microwavio. So what happened was he was at Walmart and he was wearing a shirt that had these logos on it. Not Ralph Lauren logo, not a Latigra logo. No, apparently he was wearing a shirt that said Simcrime on it, or Microwavio, or both. Because he is one of those guys who paints his car with his website and things like that to drum up business. That'll become really important in this lawsuit as well, or in the next lawsuit as well. But he was wearing a shirt that said Microwavio. And because Walmart videotaped him for their security cameras, which I'm sure are trained on him the second he enters the store. I'm sure loss prevention keeps a close eye on this guy. As he is walking out of Walmart, they videotaped him wearing a shirt saying Microwavio or Simcrime. I'm not exactly sure which one he had, or both. But the point is that he said that was a copyright violation. It violated his federal trademark. They shouldn't be able to videotape him with his own trademark on his shirt. So he was suing them for that, yeah. And he also said, it's my brand name, Microwavio, looking over at my notes, I believe was the only one on his shirt. But he goes, they videotaped me wearing this Microwavio shirt, and that could cause confusion. And you go, of course, what does Microwavio mean? What does that word even mean? Even I don't know at this point. He said because Walmart sells food and entertainment services, and so does Microwavio. So people will get confused. People will confuse a recently homeless man, now a homed man, but still just as insane. They might get Microwavio confused with Walmart. So I'm suing them. Now he says Microwavio also provides food and entertainment services. Now what's interesting is we've been covering this guy a lot recently, but over the years a lot as well. We do know he makes his own food. He has his own line of energy drinks that you can't buy him anymore, but I would have loved to just have a bottle. I would have bought one if he was available to take credit cards online. But he goes, we both sell food. We both sell entertainment services. Now, this is the first part of the lore drop. What entertainment services? I mean, sure, Max Kremer's been very entertaining over the years for us, but now he's saying that he also... I gotta know what that is. What does he sell? What does he do that is so entertaining? What is he doing? Does he... I'm assuming... I don't know. Is he making movies? Is he putting on plays? Strippers? A stripper, possibly? It's just him. Yeah, I think that's a brand new piece of lore that we have not uncovered yet. We do know that he has tried opening a marijuana dispensing area out of his home. He does make homemade energy drinks. He's tried food services, but entertainment, I'm really curious. Let's keep an eye out. Maybe he's putting on local play performances. I really do need to fly out to this town and meet him. That's not a threat. I'm very, very curious. I want to know. I want to know which location of my body is he going to stab first. Inquiring minds want to know. I'm curious, entertainment services, what does that mean? He doesn't put in the lawsuit either. He lost this lawsuit, by the way, in case you were planning on suing Walmart for the exact same thing. He also sued them because he said there were deceptive acts concerning the marketing of a bag of potato chips and that they might cause cancer. I mean, that might... listen, that might be true, right? The potato chips may cause cancer, but we don't know because, of course, he files it with all this other nonsense, and it got thrown out. He also declared that they mislabeled an orange juice container. And this was probably my favorite outside of the whole finding out he offers some sort of entertainment venue. He also said he was suing Walmart for deception because he bought a box of cough drops. But the cough drops, so, when you buy a box of cough drops, there's always a picture of the cough drop on the label or on the bag. But when he opened up the box of cough drops, they were smaller than the image. So he felt he was deceived. I understand where Max Kremer's coming with his cough drop. A lot of times they'll show on the box enlarged to show the texture of a particular product. But I could see that actually being not a lawsuit-worthy thing. I mean, deceptive advertising, you can sue people for, but it's almost like Max Kremer doesn't know about the thing between complaining and $100 million lawsuit, because that's usually who he's suing, is hundreds of millions of dollars, is then there's just writing letters to companies. If you write a letter to Walmart, I don't know if they still do this, I know Best Buy and Walmart both used to do this, is that if you wrote not an email, if you wrote a handwritten letter, and sent it to corporate, Walmart corporate, Best Buy corporate, complaining about something, they would send you back a $100 gift card. Now, I'm not telling you to scam these guys. They should be legit complaints. You go, and a lot of times they'll check, right, because they'll want to know what store it was and what day it was. You make a complaint. Because I know for sure we used to do that at Best Buy when I worked at Best Buy. People would get $100 gift cards all the time because they'd write in and go, customer service was terrible. There was a guy there, I saw him mislabeling a bunch of stuff. And then he said he was the manager. Yeah, we'd get customers coming in with that. I know Walmart has done the same thing in the past. But the key is a handwritten letter because anyone can fire off an email. They might send you something or they'll respond, hey, sorry you had such a bad day. But when someone took the time to handwrite a letter, put a stamp on it, and mail it out, they'd give you a $100 gift card. So there's the thing, and again, I'm not saying commit fraud, I'm just saying that they've done that in the past. There's a thing between complaining to yourself, grumbling in your storage container that you currently call your home, and then filing a $100 million lawsuit. Max Kremer could just write letters, which I'm sure would be a gift in and of itself. A complaint letter from Max Kremer, I would frame it. But yeah, he just goes straight to the lawsuits. Anyways, he also said they were, quote, selling inappropriate novelty lighters. What does that even mean? I know what a novelty lighter is. Was it inappropriate? Was it too sexy? Did Max Kremer pop a boner at Register 1 because he saw this sexy girl on a lighter? Who knows? Or did he just think they were unsafe? He also sued them. This is all in the same lawsuit for theft because they charged him a $1.35 tire recycling fee. This is the problem with Max Kremer. We're going to get into some other problems, but is that everything gets lumped in together. You can't sue someone for theft of $1. No one's going to take it seriously. Deceptive advertising, potato chips that cause cancer, that's stuff that other people would care about. Anyways, that case completely got dismissed. Max Kremer, around the same time, he seemed to go through a lawsuit spike. I don't know what prompted it other than, wanting vast amounts of money. None of these lawsuits ever went anywhere. As far as I can tell, he stopped doing this, but, I'm not an expert legal researcher guy. He sued Google, and this is a really interesting lawsuit. He sued them for a bunch of other stuff. It's the same thing, it's a bunch of random stuff, but more importantly, he sued them for wiretapping. He sued them for wiretapping him and selling wiretapping equipment that could be used against him. And this is where we go from the guy's just nuts to seeing activity that we can start to see as gang stalking or some sort of personal conspiracy against him. which is kind of an interesting, because sometimes it just does seem like he's a crazy guy living on a piece of land in Tennessee, but then you get to this stuff where you can start to see, you can see some dangerous behavior. Apparently this guy, and we are going to do at least one more episode on Max Kremer in the coming weeks, and it's going to drop, I think, some bombshells that will change the way you look at Max Kremer. He's become quite the character in Cookeville, Tennessee. People used to just think they'd see his car in the parking lot and go, oh, well, who's that weirdo? And then locals started driving by his house and taking photos because, it's a local legend, basically a new version of Chris Chan in the making. The attention has started to get to him, and we're starting to see some people allegedly get to him, and we're starting to see some people in the community voice some pretty serious concerns about him as well. But before we get to that serious stuff, you're like, I live in Tennessee right now. Is he dangerous? Please tell me. I will cover that in a couple weeks. He sued Google, and this is the reason why. He said, put all this in his lawsuit, but I'm going to summarize it. He said, I've been driving around town with my company name on my car. It is spray painted, right? He didn't get it wrapped. I spray painted the name SimCrime on my car. SimCrime.com. I drive it around town. I'm wearing my trademarks around town in my t-shirts. And I have received, he says that he's been doing this for 8 years, driving around in this car that has this website painted on it for 8 years. And he, quote, oddly received nearly 0% emails from new interests in that time, unquote. So over the course of 8 years, driving around, not a single person has asked him, like via email, hey, I'm interested in whatever you have to offer. I don't know, food, entertainment services, orange juice, what do you sell? He goes, not once in 8 years have I gotten a single email. And the only thing that could account for that is Google suppressing him. He says what he believes is that all of his phone calls and his emails are being monitored by Google. This is where the wiretapping comes from. And when people want to know, I don't know, just for example, they want to buy a homemade hallucinogenic energy drink, or they want to join his sorority, Kappa sorority, or want to find out about his newest video game, Goal Man, or whatever that game was where you played a super powerful seagull. He goes, I never got any emails for about any of the businesses that I've ever started, specifically simcrime.com. That was the one he alleged. Maybe he gets email. Maybe he's very successful with all his other business ventures. He goes, the only way I could go 8 years without a single email was if Google was intercepting them. So I'm suing them. According to this court doc, all this stuff is in the show notes, but according to this document, he said too in his legal document, he said when he filed this legal document, he said that this caused him, quote, the fact that he hasn't gotten any emails over 8 years regarding his business. You're going to be like, Jason, don't laugh at this part. Don't laugh at this part. He said he didn't get any emails for 8 years regarding his business. He believes Google's intercepting his email. And he says that, quote, caused emotional distress as sadness, unquote. So he's sad. I don't think that's a legal defense. I don't think you can sue someone because you're sad. But he did put it in his lawsuit. He goes, Walmart, he said, Google made me sad. So I'm suing them for $100 million. He also said, though, that, he thinks they're wiretapping him and they can sell stuff. They said they violated his trademarks like Microwavio and Kappa sorority because people post photos of his location online and things like that. He's constantly suing people for that. And he also, this was interesting. So these lawsuits, these were all sent to me by a young woman about a year or two ago. It took me long enough to get covering this stuff. And unfortunately, I forgot her real name. I think we met on Instagram. She didn't want me to use her real name anyways. So it's always tricky, like, since I don't remember what her real name is, I don't want to accidentally use it. We've been calling her Miss Applebottom. I think it's kind of Evelyn Applebottom. But anyways, she sent this over to me, and she noted what caused her the most concern was this last one I'm going to read. And it does raise some red flags. I can kind of see what his complaint is. But she goes, this is really concerning. This last part of the lawsuit's really concerning to me. He's sad, whatever. Google is wiretapping him, whatever. But he also is suing Google because they, quote, possess, display, advertise, or sells child pornography, unquote. That is an interesting thing to put into your lawsuit, right? I mean, this courthouse must be like, oh, not another Max Kremer lawsuit. But at the other end, the legal clerks could be like, yeah, I know, but it's kind of funny. They're like, what? It's not funny at all. It talks about child porn. You're like, no, I'm not saying that that's intrinsically funny, but you never know what you're going to get when you read one of these lawsuits. Think about all the boring stuff we cover every day. Stabbings, murders, child porn, all sorts of serious issues. But every so often, a Max Kremer lawsuit comes through, and you just never know what you're going to get as you're reading through it. Now, Miss Applebottom, when she sent this over to me, she said this was concerning. And here's the thing. It is concerning. I'm not saying that he's seeking the stuff out. And I know the internet can be a really wild place. You can be scrolling through Twitter or Facebook and see all sorts of stuff that you shouldn't be seeing, that a content moderator hasn't caught yet. And it's possible that happened to him. Right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not looking away. You're like, Jason, didn't your first episode say, this is the, this pops in my head. Here's the thing, it is a little concerning. On the one hand, he could have stumbled across something totally accidentally. It's pretty hard to do that nowadays, not impossible. And then he's suing them for that. Also, this was out of the list of things he was suing them for, this was the last one. He was more concerned about them wiretapping him. But, it's interesting because, listen, we don't know everything there is to know about Max Kremer. Child pornography is horrible, and he may be suing them to get... he's suing them for $100 million. He's not a crusader by any means. The concerning part is that sometimes there can be that guilt cycle where somebody views something and they feel guilty about it, as they should in this case, and then lash out at other people for it, for making it possible for them to search it in the first place. That guilt cycle. It's possible that that's what happened. It's possible that he just was looking for stuff to sue him for. And technically, the Google servers probably do have child... Don't sue me, Google, but you know what I mean? That stuff has to be hosted somewhere, and if you can access it through Google's website, you might be able to file some sort of lawsuit with that. The concern is that when we go all the way back to Max Kremer's original episode, Max Kremer, the dad-shaped supervillain, I do say, and usually when I give the intro, I don't go into all the detail because it's hours upon hours of stuff. If this is your first episode, Max Kremer talked about wearing a dad skin. Taking the skin off of a dad. It's so insane. And wearing it and pretending to be the dad. And he had a list of 10 things he was going to do. Like, live in your house. He's a homeless person. The first thing he puts down is, have a house. He talks about draining your bank account and all that stuff. But he also made a vague yet not so subtle reference to having fun with your kids. Not playing catch with them, not being like, hey Billy, you want to go throw the old pigskin around in the backyard? Not like that. There was if I remember correctly, I might have sugar-coated it in my mind, but if I remember correctly, it was a vague yet not so subtle mention of molesting your kids, wearing your skin. And so if he posted that a long, long time ago, and now he's suing Google for selling and possessing and distributing child porn, is Max Kremer looking at that stuff? We don't know. He could just put it in there because he thought it was going to make him some money and maybe pull on the heartstrings of the legal system. It didn't work. The lawsuit got thrown out. That would be, I guess I don't want to meet this guy. I go, I want to meet him, want to hang out with this guy, not if he's watching child porn. I was like, hey, what entertainment services do you offer? Let's go hang out at this dude's house. Come on, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hang out with a child molester. I'm not a monster. You're like, Jason, you said that. He said that. Yeah, but he was homeless and crazy. And that was like 15 years ago. I'm assuming he's changed. I don't want to hang out with him if he wants to do that stuff, obviously. You're like, Jason, you're the one who brought it up. You're the one who said you sugarcoated it and then said you wanted to hang out with him. But here's my thing. I think in the back, because first off, and here's the thing, he made it, that's what, now this is coming back to me. When I talked to Miss Applebottom on Instagram, we had a conversation, we were going back and forth, and we talked about that. We talked about that incident where his fantasy where he wanted to wear dad skin. And she goes, yeah, what's funny is, if I remember the conversation correctly, yeah, that's funny you brought that up because he also sued Google for selling child porn. And I was like, what? So here's the thing. You look at a history of stuff. If he makes one odd comment over the course of 20 years, he's insane. He makes a lot of odd comments. And you kind of file it in your head, though. You don't forget about it. You just file it in your head. This is the next, it's been a long time, and we haven't covered everything he's ever done. This is a concerning element to the story now. This is a concerning element. Is he just putting it in there because he thought that it would get the lawsuit to win? Is it possible that he found this accidentally? Or is it possible that he's searching for it and feeling guilty that he can find it so easily? We don't know, but now we have kind of a through line. And when we get to the next Max Kremer episode, when I talk about the community's reaction to him, again, we're getting involved. I think it will depend. Is he starting to do crazy things in town, or is the town overreacting? We'll cover that one next on our next episode of Max Kremer. But before we go today, and we still got another whole other ghost story to do, I did find out, this is the shocking, that wasn't the shocking part. You're like, oh, the fact that he was suing Google for child porn, that's not the new lore drop? No. This is nuts. This is nuts. As I was searching all this stuff up about Max Kremer, and again, you go, is this the same guy? Well, I'm pretty sure it is, because this Max Kremer is based in Tennessee. Cookeville, Tennessee, to be exact. How many different Max Kramers can live in one city? But anyway, so it turns out that Max Kremer, at some point, I don't see a date on here, but he had a business on Yelp. Now, I don't think I talked about this before. I looked through all my show notes, and I don't think I ever talked about this. I think I talked about it on the Discord, and that's why I'm getting confused, because I started thinking, did I cover this already? Sim crime. It's been all sorts of things, right? The core is the fact that he lives in a simulation and we're nothing but NPCs. He can do whatever to us, right? Because we're not real. If he wants to wear our flesh, he's one of the real people. Sim crime is also the name of his masonry business. Apparently this business isn't in operation anymore. Again, I'm not going to knock the hustle, but so for the low price of $100 million, I don't know how much he was charging, but he would come and do your driveway. He's like, can I have a key to your house? Also, where do you leave your skin when you're sleeping? I might want to try it on for myself. Max Kremer said that he does brick driveways, stoneworks, and concrete work. And now we know that he's pretty strong, right? He works in masonry, concrete, and he's carrying those bricks. Put them in your driveway. Actually, now that I think about it, who has a brick driveway? Your car's all... You're like, well, my driveway looks nice, but the shocks are shot on my car. Who has a brick driveway? You're just going down the concrete road, everything's fine, and then you turn on your driveway, you're drinking hot coffee, you're like, So anyways, who knows? Maybe it's a thing, but Max Kremer will give you a brick driveway. He also does I don't know if this is a thing. I'm not really good at geography, U.S. geography. Tennessee, I don't believe is landlocked. I do think that they have some access to waterway. Gulf of America, I think is what it's called now. But maybe not. Maybe Tennessee is landlocked. I couldn't be bothered to look it up. It would take me 2 seconds. Because whether or not it has bay access or not, and I think it does, but I could be wrong. Apparently, according to Max Kremer, Tennessee is known for its vast amount of seashells. Is that a thing? Tennesseans or people who know just basic geography, is that a thing? Is Tennessee known for having a lot of seashells? Because what happens is he can give you a brick driveway, but if you want to be a baller, he actually uses, quote, not for the brick driveway. You can this is a special order thing, but has a large selection of masonry products, including, quote, authentic Tennessee seashell fossils, unquote. I don't know much about Tennessee. I don't know much about their ecological laws. I would argue it's probably illegal to drive over fossils. I'm going to assume if you had your entire sidewalk and your driveway done in authentic Tennessee seashell fossils, you might get a complaint. You might get a complaint. You're all crushing them. You're like, "Argh." But maybe not. Who legally owns a fossil? It's bones from millions of years old. Maybe you can crush them all you want. It's not like you're driving onto your garage door as a giant T-Rex head. It's authentic. Every time I pull in with my SUV, I knock another tooth out. So, yeah, I don't know if that's a thing, but apparently he has the ability to get large amounts of these, enough to cover a driveway at least. Authentic Tennessee seashell fossils. But here's the new lore drop. From the humble roots when a listener named Oggs sent this over so many years ago, when Max Kremer was a simple, homeless video game designer, to the business magnate he is today. Magnate? Here's the thing, it's so funny because I'm an idiot too. The fact that I'm criticizing him, it does make it a little like a fair fight. We've learned all this stuff about him, but this is I don't even know how to process this part of it. Huge lore drop coming from Max Kremer. According to this website, Max Kremer describes himself as an artist, an inventor, a California native who moved to Tennessee to help Americans build roads and beautiful architecture, adding resale value to homes, investing. These are all things that he uses to describe himself, as well as 3 words that not only kind of change everything about Max Kremer, I also would say it changes the threat level, right? Are we at threat level alpha or threat level delta? Or threat level kappa, actually, but 3 simple words. This is the first time they've ever appeared, the first time that we've ever talked about this on the show, because I didn't know this either. 3 simple words that may change the story of Max Kremer. According to him, he is a, quote, Army airborne veteran. If that's true, because here's the thing, I know people lie about that. That's a crime, right? Talk about a sim crime. That's a real crime. You can't say that you used to be in the military if you were never in the military. It's super verifiable if anyone spends any amount of time looking into it, which actually, why didn't that, can I access those records? I think I might be able to figure out if he was truly an Army airborne veteran. But here's the thing, I'm going to assume that's true for right now. He might actually be a veteran. And considering his age, I mean, the photos that he posts could be older photos of him. If he is in the military at 18, airborne, usually you don't get into it right away. Maybe you do 2 years of regular Army, you're landborn, you just walk around. I don't know a bunch about how it goes down, but I don't think you can join as airborne. I think that's a specialty you have to take. If he joined at 18 and he was out of the military within 4 to 6 years, that still puts him in the mid-20s. And unfortunately, we do see a big problem with mental illness or mental struggles as well. Mental illness, mental struggles, and veterans. That's not a conspiracy theory. We've done episodes on that. It's a horrible thing. People who are signing to give up years of their life to serve their country and hopefully, don't get killed or maimed or have to endure all sorts of horrible things. At the very least, you're signing away 4, 6, 10 years of your life to really have no direction over what happens. That in and of itself is a sacrifice worth recognizing. And then adding on top of that all the danger and horrible scarring that can happen mentally and physically and all that stuff. That would track, right? He's a video game designer for quite a few years, somewhere in Southern California, homeless. And then he did get a home in Tennessee. Now we also know why he moved out there, to help build America's roads. Tennessee seashells all along Highway 80. You're welcome, America. If he actually is an Army airborne veteran, it does give a different level to who Max Kremer is as a person. But again, we'll cover this in a future episode. People are very concerned about how he's acting around town. And these concerns may be legit. Some of it seems to be they're worried he's going to do something. I think something's going to happen with this guy. And if he does snap, sorry, Jason, he's talking about wearing people's skin. I think we're past the snapping part. If he does snap, he has a set of skills, right? He's jumping off of buildings. He's coming from the air. He's landing on you, ripping your skin off. Here's the thing. If I snapped, it would not be good for me or the people in within 2 or 3 feet of me when I'm going, I'm crazy now. But I mean, all you'd have to do is walk at a brisk pace. You'd outwalk me. I was like, never mind. I'll catch you later when I'm crazy. I sit back down. I'm watching crazy TV. I'm not a particular threat at my age and my fitness level. You know what I mean? If people in town go, dude, I think Jason's really lost it. They would be like, okay, so if we see him coming, we'll just walk in the opposite direction. They'll never catch us. But if I was an Army Airborne veteran, all I would need is a Bowie knife and a homemade parachute, and I'm unstoppable, right? I'm at a level of physical fitness that average people aren't. You would know how to jump off things really quickly and probably climb up them just as well. Cops are chasing you, and you're like, you'll never catch me, and you run up the stairs, and then you jump off the 3rd floor, and then you float down, and then you hide your backpack, your parachute, your backpack, walk down the street. You're covered in human blood, by the way, and wearing a partially skinned man, but the cops will never catch you. They'll go, it was so weird, we saw him walk up to the 3rd floor, and then we checked the 3rd floor, and no one was there, officer. It was almost as if he disappeared into thin air. So it might give him a bit of a tactical advantage. He has control of the skies of Cookeville, Tennessee. If he actually is Army Airborne veteran, so first off, we thank you for your service, because again, that is a huge sacrifice. I'm not going to knock that. But that would make him more of a physical threat, a Kappa level threat if he did lose it. I mean, come on, he's probably like, dude, I've lost it a couple times, but I've regained it. Maybe. Crazy new lore drop. And is it true? I'll do some more digging. I don't know how public those records are, because that would be insane too if he made it up. I actually don't know what would be crazier, if he made it up or it's true. I guess if it was true, it'd be crazier. And I don't think I've talked about that before on the show. If you go, what, Jason, you mentioned that multiple times. You're building all up to that. We all know that about Max Kremer. Yeah, I apologize if that's the case. Let me take a look here at our runtime. Oh my goodness, there's about, 45 minutes of that. Let me find a shorty. Let me find a short story to tell. I don't want to cram in the... What was the other story? Oh, yeah, the kid trapped in the haunted house. We'll leave him trapped in there for a minute longer. We'll cover that one tomorrow. Let me find a short story to tell, because that one takes a little bit of build-up. Hold on one second. Liam, let me go ahead and toss you the keys to the world-famous Carpenter copter. We're leaving behind Tennessee. We're flying out. Jason, you sound really unsure about what you're about to do. Did you find a smaller story? Or are you just about to rant for the next 10 minutes? Liam, I'm going to go ahead and touch the keys to the world famous Carpenter copter. We're leaving behind Tennessee. Why don't you fly us all the way out to LA? We're headed all the way out to LA. This is conspiracy theory is not the right word. I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately. And Max Kremer reminded me of this. It's just more of a thought experiment, really. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. I've asked this question before, and I've gotten different answers on it. So a long time ago, I posed this question, both in real life and on the podcast, about whether or not there was a real-life Hannah Montana. And what I mean by that is the show, if you're not aware of the show Hannah Montana, because, a lot of people have been born after that show. That show's come and gone. There's kids today who don't have any idea who Hannah Montana is. Hannah Montana was the story, Jason, we're not 7. We know the story of Hannah Montana. You don't have to rehash it. I love that show. And yes, part of it is because of my close personal friendship with Miley Cyrus, and we've talked about that in previous episodes, but Hannah Montana, the idea is you had a girl in high school who everyone in high school thought was just the normal girl. But in real life, she'd put on a wig and go on stage, and she was pop superstar Hannah Montana. She was Britney Spears level of fame, if not greater, in that universe, the Hannahverse. You had the show. It was really funny. I watched a lot of it. But the idea is, could you pull that off nowadays? Could you have possibly a world-famous celebrity that in their neighborhood, nobody knew it was the world-famous celebrity? So I was thinking someone of like the stature of a Brad Pitt or even Miley Cyrus herself. You would have someone that in their general area, people would think it was just Joey. Joey, who they see out and about town. And then we all know him as Brad Pitt. Or we all know him as George Clooney or whatever. We all know him as, who's a young actor? Timothée Chalamet. But in town, he's Mark. He's Mark the bag boy. I don't think he would have a job. He doesn't have to be that into a secret identity. Could you pull it off? And what's funny is when I ask that question, I usually get two answers. They're both valid. One of them is no, you couldn't pull that off. It's a fictional show for kids, Jason. It's on the Disney Channel. You can't pull that off. The second answer I got from a lot of people, because they think about it for a second and they go, oh yeah, no, actually that probably does happen a lot. They're porn stars. And this shows how old the question is when I originally answered it. There was no such thing as OnlyFans, which would even more complicate the question. But people would say, yeah, they're probably people like Jenna Jameson or Alexis Texas or any of these big porn stars. Like, again, they're all... I don't even know if they're still making content. I am an old man, but I'm old. Betty Garland, the famous porn star of the 1940s. They go, people in town may not know that's Jenna Jameson. She may not be recognized in her local community. That's definitely possible. That was not the answer I was looking for, but I go, that actually does track. And someone like Jenna Jameson or Alexis Texas, while not world famous, were definitely big enough in American culture. Would that be an equivalent of Hannah Montana? But then I had an idea, I had a thought the other day. Max Kremer kind of reminded me of this. We are still hashing out whether or not Hannah Montana is real. You don't know, Jason. The general consensus is no or it's porn. Those aren't the answers you want. I don't know. She might be real. A world-famous celebrity that no one in their town knows who they are. They're just good old Billy. Good old Billy who lives down by the lake. Could there possibly be, and I have to coach this I don't want you to get focused on the show. Because I'm going to say something, and you're going to be focused on one detail from the show, and I don't want you focused on that. Think of the theory. Is there a real-life Knight Rider? You're like, no, there's not a talking car. Forget about the talking car. That's not what I'm talking about. The whole show was that the car talked. That was the gimmick. Focus on this. Knight Rider's is just the best example. A-Team would be another good example, and we can get to that in a second. That's why we're in Los Angeles. I was watching, the opening of Knight Rider because I am an old man, and I go, I haven't heard the Knight Rider theme song in a while. So I pulled it up on YouTube. And I kind of had forgotten what the concept was outside of a talking car. But when you step back from it, Michael Knight is a very wealthy individual. Not Bruce Wayne levels of wealth, but he is able to afford a talking car. He has his car, and it has a semi that the car has a maintenance bay in, and he has staff. But really what Knight Rider is, what Michael Knight does, is he drives around helping people, and then just go into the next town. Same thing with the Incredible Hulk, which I know isn't real. Okay, I'm not even going to get started on that one. Incredible Hulk's the same way. He travels around America, just kind of wanting to mind his own business, and he goes a place and there's a bad thing going on. Or much like the great show Burn Notice, Michael Weston, and this kind of gets to the A-Team thing. Michael Weston is a former spook for the U.S. government who gets a burn notice and is stuck in Miami. And while he's trying to figure out, burn notice means they blacklist you and you lose access to all your accounts. You become a ghost. Not literally, although that would have been a cool show too. And while he's trying to figure out who burned him, why all of his assets were frozen and who got him fired, he helps people around the city of Miami with his set of spy skills. Fantastic show. I love Burn Notice. A-Team is kind of the same thing. They're a group of ex-military. They're veterans, much like Max Kremer himself. And they operate in the Los Angeles area. Could those things be real? I actually think something like the A-Team or Michael Weston is more in the realm of possibility. The Hulk, unfortunately, is not. But what I'm talking about is, do you think there is actually a rich guy out there traveling America saving people's lives. No, Jason. Well, here's the thing. Maybe. You're like, Liam's all, damn it. What is this? This is the episode I get mentioned on? You were going to tell a short story. It's not even a story. It's you talking about 1980 shows, which, listen, I don't know how old Liam is, but I'd be shocked if he was outside of diapers when the A-Team was on. No, listen, this is what I'm saying. Is that it's possible. It's possible. The thing with the A-Team and Michael Weston and Bruce Wayne, Batman himself, is because they're so local, eventually people would clue on to the fact that there was a bunch of dudes driving around in a red van that said A-Team on the side of it, blowing up drug dealers. Eventually it'd become pretty big news. In Michael Weston's world in Miami, it would cause a lot of complications. Because you're like, why is all of these improvised explosives going off when we're doing a drug deal? Who knows how to build all this stuff? But if you moved around from town to town, just driving the highways and pulling into a small town and saying, does anyone need any life-saving out here? They're like, no, but can we see your talking car? He's like, yeah, sure, take a ride in my real-life talking car. I 100% think, because think about it, it wouldn't take much. It would take someone who was independently wealthy, so they didn't have to show up to work. They have a 40-hour-a-week job. They come in from the weekends. They're all beaten up. And the boss is like, dude, what were you up to this weekend? And he's like, oh, I went to Duluth. Went to the town of Duluth, and there was a young mother who was being harassed. Her son was being forced to join a gang. So me and my talking car... We ran over the gang members, multiple manslaughters, all in a row. And then when I got out to clean the car, I was going to power wash it. I slipped and fell on some guts and landed right on my face. And my car laughed at me. I didn't even know my car could talk. It was laughing at me as I'm slipping and falling in human guts. That's why I have all these bruises on my face. Boss would be like, what? You'd probably do more than just go ahead and call the police. But you would need to be independently wealthy and have a sense of justice and be able to pull it off, too. You couldn't be like, I'm going to drive around America and see if people need help. But not like lame help, not like donating to charities and stuff like that. Boring. I'm going to drive around town and see if I can help people like get out of the drug life. Maybe see a guy selling drugs and beat him up. Stuff like that. And then go to the next town. You'd also have to know how to do it, because you don't want to pull in town and just get shot up. So you'd have to have someone who's... These are all possible things. Someone who's independently wealthy, someone who has a need to help other people, and someone who knows how to take care of themselves. Maybe a little bit of military background, maybe a little bit of street fighting or jujitsu or something like that. Maybe, a little bit of bullet dodging, being able to evade multiple gang members firing into you. At the same time, there's no plot armor in real life. But you could have that. I wonder if there actually is someone out there. Now, they could just be driving around handing out money, too. That can help as well. But I'm talking more like action-packed stuff. I wonder if anyone's ever done that. I would argue that people probably did that in the Wild West. You probably had some guy who's like, oh, I got this gold mine and I got all these people mining for gold and that's how I'm super wealthy, but I'm bored. So I'm just going to ride around on my horse and go into town and go, does anyone need any help here? And my horse talks. It's actually pretty amazing, isn't that? Here it is. Let's go kill some people. That was probably easier back in the day. But yeah, I wonder if there is a Knight Rider of modern times. Someone who does that. I would say yes. I would say that it's definitely possible that you could have someone... Well, here's the thing. I'm also really just making it so you have the funds to do it. Now that I think about it, all I'm talking about is a vigilante, and they can do it all the time. Anyone can go, I'm tired of this injustice, and start blowing people away. But I would want it to be more... I think for you to fit this Knight Rider theory I have, you have to be a vigilante in more than one case and more than one area. If you're tired of drugs being dealt in your community and you go out there and you shoot a bunch of gang members, I mean, that's cool, but you don't meet my standard. You're like, oh man, I murdered all these people. I was just trying to impress Jason. Oh man. You're slipping on the guts and you're sad at the same time. No, that's fine, right? You're a vigilante. You're taking justice into your own hands. I support that. But you only did it one time, right? I'm looking for serial killers, not just a single mass slaughter. No, you did it one time. You saw justice. You saw an injustice. You fixed it. And then let's say you are like an active vigilante in your area. Again, kudos to you. But for the Knight Rider conspiracy, I'm looking for someone who actually travels around America helping people out. Do you think there's somebody out there like that? Because I think we have enough stuff close to it. Private detectives. Okay, that's the only one I can think of. They mostly catch people cheating on their spouses. But I'm curious. I was watching that Knight Rider video, the opening on YouTube, and I go, yeah, I wonder if anyone's actually doing this. Don't get hung up on the talking car, but I'd be curious to think if you believe someone could be doing this now or has done it in the recent past. And who knows? Maybe that'll be you. Maybe this put together segment at the last minute will inspire you to change your life and kill multiple people. But don't worry, they're bad guys, so it doesn't matter. So there we go. That is our episode of Dead Rabbit Radio for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Liam, we will have you back. I'm giving everyone 2 episodes who came out to visit me at the Oregon Ghost Conference. So Liam, we will have you back for a normal episode. But yeah, I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is it possible that there's a real-life Knight Rider? Don't need the car. Just someone independently wealthy traveling the country fighting for justice. Do you think that's possible? And, plot twist, it is possible, and that guy's name is Max Kremer. We didn't realize it all along, but he was the one we really needed. He truly was the hero we deserve. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.